The Third Battle of Ushant, or the action of 2021 April 1782, was a naval battle fought during the American War of Independence between a French naval fleet of 3 ships of the line protecting a convoy and 2 British Royal Naval ships of the line off Ushant, a French island at the mouth of the English Channel off the northwesternmost point of France. This was the third battle that occurred in this region during the course of the war. Background: intelligence had been received that the French were detaching a fleet from Brest destined to be for the East Indies to supply the Barley de Suffren's fleet in his campaign to recapture French possessions taken by the British in support of Admiral Edward Hughes. Vice Admiral Samuel Barrington was sent out with a fleet consisting of 12 sail of the line and 3 frigates in hopes of falling in with them, sailing on the 5th of April from Portsmouth. On the 20th, being to the northeast of Ushant, the frigate HMS Artois under Captain John McBride sent a signal after discovering the French fleet. Barrington then made the signal for the 84-gun ship HMS Foudroyant in the lead under Captain John Jervis with other ships in chase of the French fleet. The French convoy comprised 19 transports and the 64-gun Actionaire armed flute bound from Brest to the Ile-de-France. This was escorted by the 74-gun Protector and Pegasus, and the frigates Indiscreet and Andromaque. At sunset, the Foudroyant had got far ahead of her consorts, and near enough to the French ships and made them out to be a convoy. The squadron soon afterwards separated, and the largest ship, the 1,778 tons Pegasus, which the Foudroyant was pursuing, also bore up. Battle: a hard squall with hazy weather, coming on about the same time the Foudroyant lost sight of the fleet, and about half an hour after midnight brought the chase to close action. Broadsides from the Foudroyant caused significant damage, and after engaging about 3/4 of an hour, the Foudroyant boarded the Pegasus, and compelled her commander Chevalier de Sillons to surrender. Out of a crew of 700 men, she had upwards of 100 killed and wounded, while the rest had surrendered. Only 2 or 3 men were wounded in the Foudroyant, including Jervis himself, with other ships arriving up. The Pegasus was taken possession of. On board, the British sailors found a great deal of carnage, and the ship was materially damaged in her masts and yards. Her mizzen mast and fore-topmast sail overboard soon after the action. In the morning of the 21st, some of the squadron again joined company, and with the disabled state of the Pegasus and the continuation of a strong gale, with heavy seas, induced Captain Jervis to the signal for immediate assistance. The 90-gun HMS Queen, captained by Frederick Maitland, signaled to assist the ship. As soon as the weather permitted, Jervis moved the prisoners. By 9 o'clock in the evening of the 22nd, he had taken 100 on board the Queen and put an officer and men into the Pegasus in addition to those formerly sent by Jervis. Captain Maitland ordered the Pegasus and a cutter that was in company make their way to England and immediately sail towards the rest of the convoy, which he came up with in sight of a chase after 14 hours. Queen engaged the ship protecting the convoy, fired at her with a broadside which was returned only with 1 gun, and struck her colours. Maitland immediately took possession and found her to be the Actionaire, a French ship of 64 guns armed flute and commanded by Captain de Queringal, a Knight of the Order of St. Louis. She had on board 260 seamen and 550 soldiers, of whom 9 were killed and 20 wounded, with most being captured. At this time there were over 1,100 prisoners on board the Queen, and Maitland attempted to chase the French ship Protector of 74 guns, but decided to help in taking the rest of the convoy. 12 of the convoy were taken, 4 of them by a frigate HMS Prudent, commanded by Lord Charles Fitzgerald. Jervis meanwhile also captured 4 transports: Fidelité, Boulogne, Lyonnais, and Duc de Chartres. Aftermath: Nearly half of the French convoy was captured, causing severe financial losses to the French treasury. On the Actionaire, 11 chests of Dutch silver were on board, a large quantity of naval and ordnance stores, provisions, wine and rum. There were also lower masts for 474s, with sails and rigging complete, besides her own masts, which were intended for the recently captured HMS Hannibal off Sumatra, renamed. The capture of half the convoy in addition was a huge blow to the Barley du Suffren. The British loss was minimal, with only a total of 5 men were wounded and moderate damage to their ships. The Pegasus, though, had been severely damaged, particularly in her masts and yards. Her mizzen-mast and fore-topmast fell overboard soon after the action was used in the Royal Navy and commissioned as the third-rate HMS Pegasus. She served as a prison ship from 1799, and was used in this role until 1815, when she was broken up. Lord Charles Fitzgerald in HMS Prudenter, who being on his return to Spithead with his prizes, soon after fought to cut her off Cape Clear, to which he gave chance pursuit of 36 hours, most of the time within gun, he came up with and took her. She was called La Marquise de Castries and was a French privateer, pierced for 20 guns but mounting only 18 6-pounders. Vice Admiral Barrington, with the ships under his command, returned to Spithead on the 26th of April, and soon after that, for his services, Jervis was invested as a Knight of the Bath on the 19th of May 1782.